You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, sir.
Rico Love.
Turn the lights on.
What's up, sir? Welcome back.
It's that time of year again already?
Yes.
The We Love Music Conference?
We Love Music Conference, second annual We Love Music Conference.
Let's start off with that. So tell us about the We Love Music Conference and why should people come if they want to get in the music industry?
Really, I think it's more about anti-mediocrity. Mm-hmm. It's about being great and understanding the tools to make you great. It's not so much about necessarily the business of music, but how can I perfect my craft? If I'm a songwriter, if I'm a producer, what can I do to improve my ability? Because I think I grew up in the era of effort. I think I grew up in a time where you had to be really, really good in order to be successful, and that's no knock to this day and age. But I think the thing that bothers me most is just the acceptance of mediocrity. And I'm against mediocrity in all levels because I believe that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And if you're okay with just getting by and being successful off just being okay, or because people will accept that, then I think we kill ourselves and we kill our genre more than anything. So what I really want to focus on the music conference is just saying, how can I perfect my skill? How can I understand what makes things great, and how can I create things at a certain level? How can I perform at a certain level? It's like that Kobe era. You know, when you watch LeBron play, you can tell that he takes the game serious. And there's other people who may be, you know, on a certain level who get a certain level of popularity who don't take it as serious, but their brand won't be and mean as much as his brand means. And that's what this music conference is about. It's about developing songwriters, singers, artists, managers, you know.
I like that because a lot of these conferences be like, oh, you're going to get you a record deal and you're going to do this. Like, yeah, you're just saying, no, I'm going to help you be better at your craft.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot to me.
And I think if you're really good at something, it always, sooner or later, is discovered, whether it's this lifetime or the next. When you're really, really good and passionate and intense about your ability, it's only a matter of time before it's discovered in some capacity. So I encourage, more than anything, I encourage a lot of times. Last year, we saw a lot of parents bringing their kids, and I thought that was really good. So a lot of parents or mothers especially who say, my son sings or my daughter sings or they rap or they produce, and I want to help them, but I don't know how to help them. Come and not only drop them off, be there with them and understand, so that it's certain things that you'll see in them that you'll be able to point out to them and say, okay, I remember at the conference we talked about this and about enhancing your ability in this way. I'm doing a whole class that studies Abbey Road, the Beatles album, which is one of my favorite Beatles albums ever, right? And I kind of dissected each song. I went on vacation and hung out with a good friend of mine, Chris Bosh, who's like one of my closest friends. And on the way back, we sat on the plane and we just listened to Abbey Road. And I was kind of like explaining to him why it was my favorite Beatles album. And I was able to show him sonically how they would transition from one song to the other. And he was like, yo, you should put this in your class because the way you just explained that to me taught me a lot about just songwriting and production. So I don't want to just be a guy who says, come here and let me show you how I write songs. No, I want to show you how I listen to music and how when I listen to it, I'm able to say, all right, cool. It's one thing to like a good song, but it's another thing to know why it's great. That's an ability that people don't have. My father's a chef, and when he cooks, or if you cook a meal, he'll eat it and be like, all right, this got nutmeg, it's got oregano. He can understand the ingredients in it just by tasting it. So I just say, what if we can listen to a record and say, I know why this is great, so that when I create, I'm not copying it, but I'm able to say, I know how to create something that is on the level or just as good because I understand what makes something great.
That's interesting because remember we was talking this morning. What's the rapper's name? Extension?
XXXTentacion.
Like he made a record and he made it distorted on purpose. He distorted
the record out so
radio can't
allegedly
play.
He didn't want it to have radio play. He just wanted that underground feel. So if you ever heard the record, it's called Look at Me.
And these kids love it.
But as a DJ, you have to play it because people still like it. Even though the quality and the sound sounds nasty, it's still a dope record.
So it's like these kids don't even know what, I guess, quality is.
I think sometimes you get into a thing where you just want to be different for the sake of being different. Basquiat didn't think he was different. He just thought he didn't think he was weird or strange or obscure. He thought that everybody else was. So I think if you're going out your way to say, I want to be this so this won't happen, then I think that, I don't know, I would rather you just say I like the sound of it. But if you're saying I don't want to do this because I don't want radio to play it, then I think you're just being trippy for the sake of being trippy as opposed to just being creative and saying that's where sonically I wanted to go. I respected when Kanye wore the mask on his tour, like 2 tours ago he wore the mask, and they said, why did you wear the mask? And he just said, because I wanted to.
Yeah. No
He was
science
like,
to
it wasn't no meaning to
Yeah.
it. I wasn't doing it so that I just thought it was dope, so I did it. And I think that creatively, that's incredible to me. When I listen to certain artists, when I hear what they're doing, I'm like, I can tell that he genuinely wants to be great, and he's just doing that because that's what feels right to him. And I can also tell when people are just doing things so that they can say, I want people to notice that I'm doing something different, and that's forced.
Now,
I don't think that's authentic.
Why Indiana? You know, why did you choose Indiana?
Initially, why we chose Indianapolis was because of the Indiana Black Expo, and we partnered with them to do it. And also, I really believe that the Midwest is uncharted territory, and I believe it's so difficult to get to other places. Like, you know, hotel prices in New York or Miami, Atlanta, you know, LA, it's difficult for people. I wanted to give Middle America opportunity, especially being somebody who came from Middle America. I wanted to give them an opportunity to get somewhere that wasn't going to take their head off on the price. I only charge $175 for a 2-day conference. I did room rates at $134 for the hotel because I want people to really, like, who was in my position. And even then, I know there's people who even at that rate are having a hard time, and I respect and understand that. It's like, I believe music is like a necessity, right? Just as much as food and water is, right? So I don't believe that anyone in the world should starve. That's just my personal belief. So when it comes to music, I don't believe that I should put a price to a point where people can't afford it. I want to be like, I want to do everything I can in my power to make it so that every person can get to this conference who wants to better themselves. And it's not about them saying, oh, well, Rico's making $1 off me, as opposed to we building a brand and building something and equipping people who can fight with me in this fight that I'm fighting every day to make music really, really cool.
And tell them the date again. And how can they get tickets if they need to get tickets?
July 14th, 15th, the We Love Music Conference in Indianapolis, Indiana, inside the JW Marriott Grand Ballroom. And you can go to www.welovemusicttlo.com and get tickets right now, register. And also what I'm doing is special. Myself and Ludacris, I'm doing a day event on the day of July 14th. From 12 to 5 at a secret location. For only $25, you purchase a band and you do a Q&A. Because I know so many people who can't afford the $175. I don't want to leave them out. And also, I didn't want to compromise my brand by just saying, oh, well, we're going to change. No, we accommodate the people who can afford it. But also the people who can't is a day event from 12 to 5. Myself and Ludacris, we're going to do Q&A. We're going to play some music. We're going to talk about structuring albums, talk about the thought process when creating projects, things like that. And that's going to be from 12 to 5. It's only $25 for people to come, and it's going to be a personal meet and greet with myself and Luda.
Are you really helping Tammy from Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah, I executive produced her entire EP. She's going to be at the conference as well. I executive produced Trina's album, and she's going to be at the conference as well. I'm executive producing Pretty Ricky's reunion album.
Pretty Ricky coming back together?
Yeah, they coming back together. And Pleasure P is going to be at the joint. Danger's going to be there. B. Cox is going to be there. Danger and B. Cox are actually going to build a track live from scratch in front of the entire group in a whole session. And what they're going to do is walk you through each steps of collaboration, because a lot of people don't know how to collaborate. And two great producers getting together to show how collaboration really works and building a real true record together. That's going to be an incredible part. DJ Envy is there. He's the official DJ, and he's going to speak about hearing records and understanding hits. He came last year, and I think he gave really some real poignant views about understanding how to recognize a hit from the DJ perspective and understanding why I have to play this record and understand why this record works and why these records don't work. And I think that this year you're going to have a lot more time to really give us and speak. But I just think I want to cover it from all angles. My man Byron Trice is going to be there talking about management. That's why parents who manage artists, you should come and check out this course that he's giving. Rob Marks, who's my mix engineer, who does incredible mixes, he's not only going to speak to mix engineers, but speak to producers. How do I make my beat more full? How do I make my 808 hit harder? How do I make my why is my stuff sounding so compressed? What can I do to improve my sound? You know, so it's not just generic panels where we sit up there and answer questions. I did a panel the other day that was really, I think it had potential to be incredible, but we took so much time introducing all the people that by the time we got to the information, and we didn't really have time to give them the information. So I'm anti-panel. I think we give a real lesson plan. Everybody who comes to my conference and participate is required to give me their lesson plan. I look over it and I'm able to say, all right, cool, let's take this out, let's leave this. It's something we really take serious, and I don't really want it to be, I never want to look like a guy who's just capitalizing off notoriety and just going to get a check from people. I want people to know I really truly care about them growing, because if they grow, they even the playing field for me. Because then if greatness is accepted, if greatness is dope again and admired again on a mainstream level, not just on an underground level, not just on a, those rare, that 1%, those Kendrick Drakes, Coles. You know, I want it to be like accepted on mainstream, because people say what they want, but I don't feel like the streets mess with those guys as much as they should. And I feel like sonically, we kind of like
who you mean, like Drake, Kendrick,
Cole.
Nah, I definitely think they do.
I think that when I say the streets, I mean like Kodak fans. You know, I feel like guys who are listening to really, really harsh hood music. I remember growing up, we had Rough Riders and we had Rockefeller and we had Bad Boy.
But then you had your Outkast.
You had your Outkast, but that still was mainstream and it was still brilliant.
Right.
What I'm saying is a certain level of art and articulation and effort that were put into all of those records, and it was accepted on all levels. I just feel like I want people to be so familiar and comfortable with people on creating the type of music that Cole and Kendrick and Drake are making, that it's the norm. The only way I think I can do my part in doing that is by equipping them with the tools to be able to start seeing things on that level.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, like when I think those guys are the norm, because those are the ones that are selling records.
No,
like,
they are. But
I love Kodak and I love Yachty them, but they don't.
Yeah,
sell records like that.
but I'm talking about acceptance from the people that we're trying to really reach. You understand? What I mean by that is, when you go to the show, I think the message that they're trying to purvey, especially when you talk about Cole and Kendrick, I don't think that the people they're actually really trying to reach, who need the message, are showing up in the way that they should. And that's just my perspective of it. What I mean by that is, the guy who's the pill head, who's drinking lean all day,
Right.
I don't think he's sitting in line for 10 hours to go see Cole.
Because he got Future with the Molly Percocet record. He got
So what I'm trying to say is, I want to make it so that we even the playing field. So even that guy, at least whatever you say, whatever you do, make sure that you're doing it with a certain level of effort, and you're bypassing mediocrity just because it's acceptable, and saying I want to be great for the sake of being great, and not just saying I can get by with this because I can get by with it. Instead just say, this is dope and I want to make it dope and to make it as best as I possibly can, and not just because it's like being 7'8" and you don't work on your game because you just like, I can stand at the rim and just kind of put it in. All you gotta do is give me the ball. But if you're 7'8" and you got agility and you got to move and you can, hit the baseline, and you got Elijah Wan coaching you on the off season, and you can, then you can respect that guy more, because you like, not only is he it's like LeBron James, right? He's built like a beast, but he works his ass off to make sure that he perfects his game. And that's the same way I want people to look at music. Ultimately, though, the goal for the We Love Music Conference is to establish the Rico Love Music College. And I ultimately want to build a school where it's not just like, you got Berkeley's, you got, Juilliard's, you got all these schools that they perfect your skill in musically, classically in the arts. But what about the guy who really is a dope rapper? What about the girl who sings and who wants to do R&B music? What about the guy who really wants to be an A&R? What about the guy who wants to do marketing and music and really have real hands-on teaching and experience? I want to be able to develop a real institution that develops those people and gives them an opportunity to learn after they leave school. Imagine if I say, I'm out of high school, what do I do now? Well, I got to do this because this is only available to me. But what if it was something available to you to say, all right, well, our keynote speaker or our lecturer today is coming from Puff. Irv Gotti was just here. Like, Irv Gotti comes in and says, all right, I'm going to teach a class about this. Or Danger or Felix Snow or Jim Johnson or Metro Boomin or Southside come in and say, or Mike Will. Mike Will is probably one of the dopest producers when it comes to just meticulously listening to a kick and making sure. When you listen to his kick drum, just know that he sat there listening to that kick drum for 3 days, getting it right. And I think people should know that. I think people hear me saying I'm anti-mediocrity and they assume that I mean trap music. No. I think the Migos Culture album is incredible.
Or even Metro Boomin.
Metro Boomin, what he's doing is incredible.
That Gucci album
with the production and all these things. Like, these guys are creating real pieces of work, and I think that we should highlight that, and we should show people that it's just not. So there's a lot of guys who mimic them. That's the only thing about music that seems simple, is that it's easily mimicked. So then a guy will come along and it'll be a fake Metro Boomin trying to create what he creates, and he'll get it off and get a few hits under his belt. We're doing half the work. I want people to understand that the difference between quality and bullshit. You know what I mean?
So how do you decide who you're gonna work with? Like you mentioned Tammy, you also mentioned Trina. What in those artists made you say I want to work with them?
Relationship. Me and Trina always been good friends. I really love Trina. I really believe that Trina is like an icon in Black culture. Like, think about it. She's the most named female MC in the game. Like nobody's name is. I think she's in the Guinness Book of World Records for like most mentioned female in
Listen,
music or something like that.
I'm from the South. You ain't got to sell me.
So what I think with Trina is I love her tone, I love her energy, and I just wanted to contribute something to her that I feel like anybody who believes that I can add value to them, and I think they have the ability, I want to add value to it. With Tammy, she reached out to me on her own, and she said she sings, and I'm like, nah, I'm not really interested in my mind. I'm like, whatever.
Was it the reality show thing?
Yeah, I kind of got a problem with those things, so I had to step out.
You did Tierra Marie, so
yeah, but I did Tierra Marie before she ever was on the TV show. But what I did was I had to step outside of that and say, look, is she good? So she sang for me, and I was like, damn, this girl really could sing. So I said, come down and get in the studio. What I respected about her, she booked the studio, she paid for the time, she paid for the room, she paid for the engineer. We did the record, and the first record we did, she nailed it. And I was so impressed that she said, I would like you to be involved. And I said, I only do it if you let me do the whole project. And she said, that's what I want. And you guys know me for a long time, and y'all know that's my passion is being able to executive produce projects. I feel like I'll never be able to be mentioned with Pharrell's and with the Rodney Jerkins, with the Timbalands until I break an act. So I think I'm very passionate about that, and I understand I'm humble enough to know that I'm not on their level yet, but I do know the night is young, and we still got a lot of time. I'm 34 years old, so I still got a lot of time to get there. But when I heard her sing, I thought she was really dope, and I was like, I can add value to this project, and I decided to do it. The same with Pretty Ricky. I look at them and I like, first of all, Pleasure's one of my close friends, and I've always believed in him. My first #1 record that I ever wrote was Boyfriend Number 2. So
Wow.
So I look at that and I'm like, I can definitely add to this. And then when you look at their history at radio sales, and look at the history of performance royalty, and the things that they were able to earn over these years, why would you not want to take a chance on that? What is it taking from me? I'm giving my time and my effort and my energy to something that has worked before, and all I can do is be the guy who, obviously, I made a career off, quote unquote, bringing people back. So why not try to continue that? So that's what, when I look at people, I look at, am I interested in seeing it become great? Is it enough of a challenge? Do enough people hate on them enough for me to come in and say, all right, what if we make this work? How much cooler do we look when we make somebody who nobody believes in work, as opposed to just saying, all right, cool. Bro, the work I did for Kelly Rowland did more for me than the work I did for Beyonce. Not because Beyonce isn't a bigger artist, but because, wow, when Beyonce does well, it's like, of course she does well. She's Beyonce. But when you make somebody who really everybody may not necessarily have believed in as much, and you make that work, you get a certain level of respect as a producer that I believe I was able to earn.
Wow, so you're looking for the underdog.
Absolutely, and who are talented. I'm not just looking for just because it's the underdog. If I see that I can help, there's been a lot of people that came to me that I really didn't believe I could help, and I don't believe that. I think some things could possibly be beyond my help. So so when I look at things that I think I can add value to, then I go for it.
Have you ever had to tell them they suck? Like, yo, look, man, F your dreams. It ain't it's just not hitting, bro.
No, I would never say that, especially this day and age, because a lot of things that I think suck do very well.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell.
Ain't that weird?
It's weird because now I can't even tell somebody what'll work or not. A lot of people bring me a record and they be like, you think this will work? I'm like, bro, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. But I'm not going to tell you if it's not going to work, because a lot of shit that I don't like works.
Right.
So.
You know why? Because everything's so unorthodox. Like, it's no formula no more. It's not like, oh, this record's for radio. Like,
I know what it is. Kids don't buy into the music anymore. They buy into the artist. So if they believe your movement, you can put up any shot and they're going to be like, that's the one.
Well, look at Young M.A. Ooh. There's no hook on that record.
I thought ooh was the hook. Ooh.
That's not a hook. Does she just say ooh?
I think and
it's
a vibe.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. But what I will also say about M.A., the reason why she's able to consistently do well is because nothing like her exists.
Absolutely.
So right now she's still gigging like crazy.
She needs another record, though.
Like crazy. She definitely needs another record. She needs a classic project, right? But the reason why she's able to consistently do well is because there's nothing like her.
Right.
And she's able to walk into venues and be such, bro, she's a star. You've been around her. When
Absolutely.
she walks in, it's undeniable.
That's my sister.
And
We look alike.
Some people have those things. I always tell people this, right? See, if you're not trying to be Beyonce level of greatness, then why are you doing it? I think it's pointless for you to even do it. You can make music in your house if you're just doing it for the sake of just doing your music. But when you look at certain people, and I always describe a star like this. Have you ever had the most incredible idea in your mind? You feel like, this feels right. This feels like the greatest idea ever, right? Well, when I see Beyonce, that's what it feels like looking at her. It's like that greatest idea ever personified. And I think that's what a star is.
Right.
A star is the greatest thing you could ever think of but couldn't reach, and then you see it as a person.
Right.
That's what a lot of these people have that people understand why. So it's a lot of like lesbian girls coming out now and trying to say, well, since MA worked, I'm gonna do this. But you're not her, bro. You're not. That she's special. It's something different about her. When she walks into a room, it's just different. You feel it.
It's a star quality.
Like you feel it.
Absolutely.
So and there's a lot of artists who have that. There's a lot of acts who really have that. And when they have it, you just pinpoint and you know it and you know how to recognize it without even, trying.
Very rare trait to have nowadays, especially in this era. Because
it's not a many stars.
Yeah, it's not that many. There's people that get attention.
Oh, yeah.
That you know.
Yeah.
But a star.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Star don't need bells and whistles. First time I met Usher, he put up in a little box Porsche. When he walked in, he had on like some plaid shorts and a polo shirt. I remember like it was yesterday. It was in 2003. And when he walked in, it was just like, bro, Usher's here, bro. It was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I couldn't believe it. It was like his presence alone. He didn't have no leather jacket. It was just plaid shorts, a polo shirt. But when he walked in, it was like, wow, that's Usher. I remember telling a joke to Beyonce, and she laughed and did like this to me. And I was like, oh, shit. Like
Beyonce
that was
just
like,
touched me.
Beyonce, like that's how stars should feel. And I think what happened in music was that we started becoming afraid of superstardom. And we started starting to resent superstardom to the point where anything that felt unattainable to us, we didn't accept it.
Right.
As well, when I was growing up, when I first saw Puff in that Bentley Azure with Biggie riding backwards in the Hypnotized video, I was like, I want to get to that point. I don't know what that car is. I don't know what that shirt is. I don't know what that is, but I want to get to that. Now it's like, it's too much, bro.
I like that. Go ahead.
I feel like what happened is a group of people who were just okay being mediocre decided that, all right, we're going to be fans of ourselves. So anything that's beyond what I can attain mentally, physically, what I can reach, if I don't feel like I can reach it, is not cool to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you feel uncool for being polished. I'm going to make you uncool for... Remember when record companies would sign people and if you announced that you were signed to a label, it was the biggest thing in the world? Yeah. Now, you see people announce that they're signing and their stock goes down immediately. So much so that record companies are lying and saying they're not even sign artists. They're making artists look independent. That's why the record company is dying right now, because their whole stigma, their whole that big brother thing that they had, they don't have it anymore. Because what happened is all of the quote unquote uncool kids decided we're gonna make our own clique, and then the really cool kids started saying, well, I want to be in that clique. Let me go and be uncool too. So you start seeing artists at a superstar level starting to dumb themselves down, starting to try to fit in with people who they're incredibly like way more talented than or way more advanced than, because they're saying, well, this works, so let me go over here and fit because it's safe. I never ever in my life want to be in a situation where I have to go backwards for the sake of fitting in. It's the most incredibly ridiculous idea.
Do you think some
I've
of
ever
these kids
thought
are
of.
just growing up in the social media era, and social media just makes things more accessible?
I think
like,
that's
we
what
see too much of people.
I think that's what happens now, but I think initially, I think it was like Rage Against the Machine, and it was a bunch of people who felt like, I'm sick of having to live to this standard. Instead, I'm going to glorify people who are on my level.
I'm going to flip that too also, because a lot of these guys have been talented, but a lot of record label execs don't recognize it. Like, you got a lot of older dudes in these positions who didn't see the Drakes coming or the Coles coming or the Kendricks coming or the Wiz Khalifa coming.
I would have missed a lot of that
Chance.
stuff. I would have missed a lot of that stuff too. But I think over time, you see, even with those guys, you can't really mention them in that conversation because they make incredible music. And they really take time to make that music really good.
Like, think about 50 in that era.
Yeah.
50 was right here in New York with no New York exec signed him. Right under their nose.
A little of that was fair, though. Because a little of that was fair. He was beefing with Irv.
I
Irv
was
with
look at Nicki
Clean.
Minaj.
Nobody wanted
Nicki
to do
Minaj right here in New York.
But Nicki Minaj now wasn't Nicki Minaj then. It was unpolished, and it took for Wayne. She wasn't like running around crazy, dropping off demos everywhere. She was just doing a thing, and Wayne caught her early. I think that was the situation with that. And I remember seeing the old Nicki freestyles and being like, yo, this girl got potential. And I remember when Wayne said he signed her, long before the world knew, she was already saying she signed to Cash Money. I don't even think she was necessarily on paper at that time. And she was saying, Wayne, that's Wayne's new artist. I remember thinking to myself, damn, this girl kind of dope. I hope I hear something from her. 2-3 years later, when she did that freestyle and then she was the Barbie and signing girls' titties and all that stuff, it became, I think that it was good for them not to be discovered at that time because it developed who they were. Everything that happened to me in my life and my career was supposed to happen the way it happened, because had it not, I wouldn't have this material that I'm able to work with now. So I think that that's a natural part of life. There's always been a time where people were slept on. That's since the beginning of music.
But being regular is cool now.
It's way cool.
You know, and
to the point where
that's-
you'll see guys get in an arena in 30,000 people in sweats and a hoodie.
I like that though. I like that because there's no pressure on. I think a lot of that made regular people try to keep up with the Joneses.
I think what happens is we started shooting lower though. This is what I mean, and what I mean by this is this: when I watch Puff come on stage with explosions and fire coming from behind him and crazy jackets and all that type of stuff, it made me say in my mind, there's something I can reach.
Yeah, but Puff can't rap. Somebody like J. Cole could come out in sweats and a t-shirt and rap his ass off.
But Jay-Z can, right? So let's say Jay-Z, let's say Kanye, right? And we could say whatever you want to say about Puff, you cannot deny he's an entertainer.
Definitely entertainer.
And he's a presence, and he's one of those superstars, one of those ideas
Super duper
personified,
star,
right? And one of those people who give you chills when you first meet him. It's like, I can't believe I'm talking to Puff, right? So that idea of somebody being that grand, that I don't want that to die, because people feel like mentally, if I can't attain it, I don't want it. So I think we shooting so low and that we're accepting mediocrity because it's saying it's safe for me. And that's where I don't want to get to. I don't want to get us to get to a point, especially as black people, to where we look at things and if it's safe and if it's comfortable and if it fits my comfort level, then I'm cool with it. But if it's beyond what I possibly can be, I always talk about the grading curve. And the reason why people in South Carolina hate on you, the reason why people in Queens hate on you is because the grading curve. Because if everybody gets a D and you get a C, I'm happy. Everybody, that D turns into a B. But if you get an A, now we know it's possible. You fucked up the grading curve. Now the teacher's looking at you and saying, everybody else is saying, oh, no, I can't. Your D is a D. You lost. Mm-hmm. Because he made it and he showed it it's possible to happen. Instead of them saying, let me study with him, they're going to say, this nigga fucked up the grading curve.
Now, you're right.
I mean? So what happened with success is people started seeing this level to say, I can't be that. And it's okay, bro. Be a fan then. But now it's like, nah, I can't be that. But this guy who's regular, I think I could be him. So I'm gonna be that. But let me tell you how quick it fades though, because there's no true level of respect for that artistry. But we just seen homeboy, just somebody ran on stage and knocked him out just now. Bro, that's not going to happen when they look at you a certain way. When they don't feel like they can get next to you. It's certain situations that you'll see guys in and you be like, I know for a fact he don't got the right security with him right now, and he can get touched right now. But he's so big.
But Pac and Biggie got shot though, Rico.
Yeah, they got shot, but you don't really know that wasn't by no average people, bro. You know what? Come on.
No, I don't.
And that wasn't by some common guy. I believe that, that's a whole nother conversation, right? But what I'm saying is, I've seen guys in situations where I feel like he don't got the proper security around him, but nobody's gonna touch him. You know why? Because in their mind he's so big, they thinking he gotta have somebody around here. He's that big.
And I've seen it. And it's funny that you say
that's like
that.
Jay.
You look at Jay
walking around all day.
But these are the
Exactly.
people that when I first came out, I looked at them like, wow.
Exactly.
Whether it was Jay, whether it was Puff, whether it was, to this day, Swiss Beats, just they were on another level. They were superstars in my mind, and I wanted to be on that level. And that's probably why I moved the way that I move and I do the things that I do, because when I was a kid, I didn't have it. I wanted to be that. I was like, when Puff drove backwards down on 6th Avenue, I was like, I want to do that. I didn't have no artist, but that's what I wanted to do.
I feel you, but I think that we're older. I think those kids do look at Drake and Kendrick and Cole.
No, and I think
Big Sean
deservingly show for those names.
Yeah, Chance.
When you say those guys, I think they deserve those looks, and I think they get it. But what I'm talking about is not those kids, because they're superstars. I think that Chance, Cole, Kendrick, they come from our era. They come from that being fans of big, ideas that are personified. But I think that now mediocrity is so accepted on another. When I mention that, trust me, I'm not mentioning those guys. These guys, I feel like are future Hall of Famers for sure. All those names you just mentioned, right? But I think that there are several. Barry Gordy was a genius, and this is why. Because Barry Gordy would hear an incredible song, and he'll come to a small town and hear this guy sing this great song, or even just in Detroit, and he'll say, all right, I like this song. You're not a star, though. How much for the song? And we're not doing that anymore. Record companies are saying, he's got 5 million followers. He's got this. Put the song out. And then they're wondering why it doesn't do anything after that, or wonder why this guy doesn't maintain a certain level. He's not a star. He's not equipped to be that. And you put too much pressure on him that he doesn't know how to handle, because that's not who he is. That's not his character, right? So what I say is, record companies used to be machines where they would be smart enough to say, he makes dope tracks, this guy is a whole unit, let me sign him and make them a production team, and then we'll create the hitmen. All right, then we got these writers over here, we're going to have them writing. All right, cool, we got Missy, we got Timbaland, we got Genuine, we got Aaliyah. All right, let's develop them. Let's figure out what they're going to do. They're going to create their whole movement, and then they're going to explode out of themselves. All right, then we got this whole thing over here, and let's make this. We got Swizz Beatz, he's dope. All right, we'll watch him become a superstar. We'll develop him. We got Just Blaze, we got Kanye West. Let's make them. Okay, whatever happens with them, we got the incubator for that. Now it's like, you got a record now, you're ready now. No, you're not necessarily ready. And in every other institution, there is a build-up, there's training, there's development. But in music, the thing that affects our lives more than anything, the thing that we have to hear every day, we don't have that same type of passion. We don't have that same type of development. We don't take it as serious. You understand? Even when I speak to investors about other businesses that I'm doing, when they talk about investing in music, they expect a tomorrow turnaround, right? But they'll buy a building and sit on it for 10 years and understand that in 10 years, this value will be this. Yeah. But with music, they want their money overnight.
Right.
You know why? They don't respect what goes into it, because they see everything happening like this in their mind. So if you start giving the quality back, that's why the conference is so important. If you start showing the quality in something and showing the value in something, then now when people look at it, they're going to hold it to a certain level, and they're going to be like, it's held in a high regard, and they're going to say, I got to respect that, because creatively. Think about this, bro. When I work with artists, especially rap artists now, it was a situation I was in with an artist where he asked me to change a part on the record. I changed it. He called me at 4 a.m. Yo, can you change this part? I changed it right on the spot. I sent it to him. I didn't hear back from him for 2.5 months. 2 months later, he hits me up randomly, 10 o'clock at night. Yo, I like that part. Can we mix it? What you mean? Like, I haven't heard from you in 2.5 months. Then we mix it. After the mix come back, he say, oh, I want to change another part. But we already mixing the record. What's going on? It's because they don't respect the creative process, that they think it's just like, they don't understand what it takes for me to go in and make that part. They think I'm just going there saying, doop, 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 doop. All right, cool, thanks, send it off. They don't understand the hours it takes. So it's impossible for them to respect the actual process, because when they look at it, it's just easy bake oven. And not understanding that this is a real machine. This is real assembly line worker coming together, making this what we need it to be. And inside and out, the respect is not there. You go in companies where it's a story about an executive who had somebody come in and play the record for them and say, I want you to hear this song. And they said, this is incredible. This should be your next single. And then the artist told the executive, it was on 2 albums ago, on my 2 other projects ago from now. I just wanted to show you how much you don't pay attention to the things I'm doing. So you're inside of buildings right now, this day and age, where you walk in record companies and it's dead quiet, bro. It's dead quiet. Where the fuck is the music? It's not a sound ordinance in here. You guys own the building. Why is no music being played? Why am I being told, and I'm sitting in meetings and people are knocking on the door saying, can you turn the music down? It's a fucking record company. No. Tell them no.
Record labels are so
It's
not
different
necessary
because
now.
music is not looked at the way it was before. It used to be about what's great. Then it turned into, what can we get to work? God damn it, we can't get nothing to work. So whatever we can get to work, we'll get behind it. To the point where you'll hear an incredible project, and instead of fighting for that project inside of the building and saying, this has to work, I love this album, I've been listening to it all week, it's like, all right, it didn't work. Let's move to the next thing. This other thing that I hate, that I would never listen to in 1,000 years, it's working, so let's champion that. And then it's corrupting the culture. And then it's killing it. But what I will say,
how do you explain guys like Future, Young Thug? Because it's like they started in the street and the streets loved them, and it's like they've been accepted by mainstream, and they've turned out to be stars.
Young Thug is very talented.
Very talented.
Young Thug is an incredible songwriter. Young Thug melodically, there's not a lot of people on his level who can create melodically what he does.
I agree.
Future created a style of music that everybody is following right now. Future, when you hear Mask Off, you understand that lead line in that track, what Metro is doing, and how their marriage between his vocals and the track blends together. Like, so some people on the surface would think, well, it's just simple. But if it was that simple, everybody would have the career that Future is having. Right. No, it's not simple. When you look at those guys, they are creatives. They are intense creatives. So don't think, just like I said, again, a lot of people think I'm anti that type of music. No, I'm anti-mediocrity on any level. I don't care if you're a country artist. If you're not doing your best to make your song great, you trash to me. And I think you should be disposed of. But when I think about guys like Thug, melodically,
Thug is dope.
What? Did you hear the verses he put on this More Life album for Drake? Like, you hear him singing a hook on the song with Drake. Like, this man is really good.
Nah, yeah.
So those guys are the exception because they're in a genre where there's mediocrity accepted, and they still not accepting mediocrity for themselves. Their greatness. Now, do I agree with a lot of things they do off camera and a lot of things they say? Maybe not. But musically, if we just talking about straight music, I believe that Young Thug potentially could be a genius, like seen as musically as a genius.
Absolutely. Well, the We Love Music Conference, July 14th and 15th. Tell them how to get tickets.
You go to www.welovemusicttlo.com. Register right now. 2-day event, July 14th, 15th, Indianapolis, Indiana, inside the JW Marriott.
Get your tickets now. I'll be there. Rico Love will be there. Brian Michael Cox, Ludacris, and a host of others. Make sure you get your tickets. And we appreciate you joining us, man.
Thank you
Always
guys
good
for having me.
conversation.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it's The Breakfast Club. It's Rico Love.
The Breakfast Club. Every weekday morning. Tune in